Your report is good. Your charts need work. This is what they need. Color scheme. The student leaves me confident with a plan to go to next steps to be successful. You see the difference? All right, let's take a look at another one. So now if we want to emphasize the process. All right. So when we want to give praise, if we say, great job. Great job. Great job on what? What did I do great on? Great job on what? It's too broad. It's not telling me anything. It didn't give me room to grow. If I did a great job, what am I growing on? Is everybody perfect? Everybody perfect? No. So if you're not perfect, you can always grow. Great job just makes me feel good for a minute, but it doesn't give me anything after that. But if I'm going to give praise, I can say, I appreciate how clearly outlined the key points in your presentation, making it easy to follow. Oh, yes.
It's not a presentation, but it's a test in class.
Absolutely. I appreciate how you paid attention to my instructions and outlined your paper exactly the way I said it. I appreciate how you remained in my time frame. I gave you 10 minutes. You answered every question completely. Something specific.
It always depends. For example, why I'm having the lesson asking students questions.
So I'm identifying the work you did. You can say great job. I'm not taking that away. Okay, I'm saying if I'm instilling motivation and confidence in my students, when I'm doing my whole class, great job, class. But if I talk to one student and my goal is to instill confidence, right? I like the way you just said that. I know you're afraid sometimes to answer in front of students. I'm very proud of you. Good job. Now he knows why he did a good job because I just told him. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
You just appreciate the way you do it.
Absolutely. Well,
because they are individuals. They are a group, but they are individuals. To make sure everybody grows, you need to give them that specific feedback. That should go, good job is good, but it's not enough. It should go beyond that. Like, that's why we need to take time to read the work the student have done, to grade it correctly, so that when you give that paper, you say, after I come, he comes and you say, okay, your writing was good, but you need to maybe make progress here and there, because you took time to grade it correctly. And you can give that specific feedback. Otherwise, you're just going to give general feedback, which is not really helping the English student to differ. That's what I wanted to ask.
Even as a teacher trainer or a superintendent trainer or whatever training I'm doing, for Addis, I just did a project-based learning training and they had to turn in, I don't know if some of you went, they had to turn in a project-based learning activity. Every activity I read, I specifically pointed out something inside of their activity that was unique to their activity. Because what it is saying, this teacher respected me enough to read my work and give me individual feedback. She didn't just say, oh, good job, good job, good job. They respect you when you take the time to look at the work and say, you did great on this. They also work harder because they know you read it. So if they think you're reading it, then they're going to work harder because they know. And then the last example, we want to point out without being so ambiguous and vague. So, criticism. You could do better. Look, he laughed. Y'all, we do that sometimes. You know you could do better. Why are you doing that like that? But really what we're saying to them, yeah, you could do better, but what you telling me to do better on? And if they telling me I'm doing great, you telling me I can do better, what does that even mean for you? What your expectations of them may be different from someone else's expectation. So if they're doing their best and you tell them they can do better, well, they've always been told they're great. What are you talking about? It's something to think about. But look what we say, while your report was well written, I brought that one back. You did great with that report. But this needs work. I didn't say that something is you're good, but then I said, this is what you do. Now you're willing to receive what I'm saying because it doesn't. What else can we say besides you can do better? Give me one example of something else we can say besides you can do better.
What if you did this differently?
Why did you do this
What
differently?
what if you did this differently?
What if you did this differently? I see how you did this, but what if you did this way? Try this. I noticed that you wrote your report on green paper. I understand what you were thinking, but what if you tried white paper? You're reading to an audience. Oh, go ahead.
You could give an example to give an example to illustrate your argument.
Okay, you could. Like?
You say that, for example, even an essay, when a student he has to illustrate it with an exam.
Right.
So when he fails or he or she fails to do it, you say to the student, you could give an example to illustrate your argument.
You can give an example.
Yeah.
Let me show you. You wrote it this way. I'm why? Can you explain to me why? Once they give me logic, I know what they're thinking, and I say, okay, so let me show you this one. Try this way. You wanted to say something, Ms. Cunn?
That's it, because that's why I was emphasizing the fact of reading carefully the student's work. Because if students, like the way he developed, the essay was too shallow, it's because I read it. Then what he mentioned, then I could, having that conversation with him during the feedback, to make him understand where he needs to grow.
Right.
Okay? By giving him a specific feedback on that area, also praising the good areas.
Yes.
So that's why this requires what I'm gonna repeat again is you should take time to read the students' work carefully. And even when they are presenting group work in class, it's mentioned in one video. You could take down notes, the errors, but also the positive side and the negatives. And then you could give us a general feedback, but a specific feedback to the group. And then when you finish, if it is fluency, then you could do the error correction with that. But provided that you practice active listening, so that you take down notes of whatever needs, what is good, but also whatever needs to be improved. Because if students don't know where the shoe pinches, where they have a problem, they will not develop because they don't know what is not good in what they're doing. That's why we are the teachers. When we read or when we listen, we know what is good, what is not. Okay? If we don't tell them, every time they're going to come with the same performance. So no growth. That's why that active listening, taking down notes, and reading carefully student work is key when you want to give specific feedback that is going to help the learners as a group or individually to grow.
He had a comment for you?
That's when we correct us.
10 kids. So we have to come up with strategies because we have a growth mindset as educators. We don't get fixed on problems. We fix problems.